Hey, welcome back, guys. Sorry it's been so long. So let me dig into that. I've had a lot of things going on, and it's my own personal stuff. But let me talk to you about that right now. Okay, so in a previous video, I mentioned that I had a cyst. Actually, I had two cysts. I had one that was outside the end of my little pinky finger, and it was right here in my chest. I had it removed. So I had the one in my back removed. Now, on the 20th of February, I went into the doctor and I was finally able to get an appointment with the doctor. He's only in the office at the hospital on Thursdays. Okay. The rest of the time he's doing surgery, and he's a surgeon. So he was doing surgery at other hospitals. He's pretty popular. He comes highly recommended. And the hospital that we chose is Our Lady of Mount Carmel in San Fernando, actually Sindelon, part of San Fernando, which is the northern part. It's south of me because I'm right on the border between San Fernando and Angeles and Televastagen. So you can look all that up. You can see where all these places are. But it's only about 3.5 kilometers south on MacArthur Highway. It's not one of the top hospitals, but they do have a good reputation of good care. So on the 20th, I was finally able to get an appointment with him. He looked at it and he says, no, he says, this thing has gone deep. And yeah, it was very discomforting. It was uncomfortable, let's put it that way. Okay, so no man is going to say it hurt like hell, but it did. It was uncomfortable. Let's just keep it that way. So, yeah, he looked it over and he says, wow, he says, this thing's deep. He says, it's going to have a lot of surgery here to get it off. And so he scheduled me for the next day, the 21st. He had another surgery to perform on that day, so it was a good time to do it. So he sent me to the lab to get blood work because he wants to make sure I'm healthy. And then I got that done, and they says it'll be a couple of hours. You know, that's pretty fast. A lot of times you get lab work and it may take a week before it comes back. So I do give kudos to Our Lady of Mount Carmel. Let's just call it Mount Carmel Hospital. For their prompt service, and they expedited it. I think it cost me a little over 8,000 pesos. Anyway, we got that done. Then we had to go to the ECG lab, the echocardiogram lab, because they want to make sure that, you know, my heart's not going to stop while I'm on the operating table. They're very cautious, and so I do give them kudos for their caution and for their thoroughness. Went into the ECG lab, still on the 20th. This is all done in one day, and it was the full day. It took us, they ran through that. The doctor says, you're as healthy as any 40-year-old I know, and I'm a lot older than 40. You can see that. So that's always a good sign. And you know, like I tell other people, I'm very blessed with good health. So we waited the allotted 2 hours, went back to the lab. We got all the lab work. It was very thorough, 2 pages. And we took that back up to the, it's actually the HMO office at the hospital. And that's where the doctor works out of, and that's where the nurses all are and things. So we went back up there, took the results. They were very pleased. Says, yes, tomorrow at, I believe. So they scheduled me for surgery 1 o'clock on the 21st. Yay. Surgery is not something that I'm accustomed to. I've only had a few surgeries in my life. 3 years old tonsils, so then a couple other subsequent surgeries, one with the military, and that was actually 3 surgeries, but they had to rebuild something. But anyway, that was Army related, and so some surgery then. And since then, I've been very healthy. In fact, I still have my appendix, and everything seems to be working fine. They did the blood work. They says, "Wow, you're in great shape." The ECG says, "Wow, the only thing we're concerned about is your heart rate is low." Now, I've been athletic throughout my teens. I was in the military for 20 years, and I've worked physical labor my whole life, so I've stayed relatively in decent shape. Sometimes overdo it, like when I tore my rotator cuff in 2019, and now it's starting to, give me a little bit of problems again now that I'm older. It's just things we deal with. I wear Salonpas at night, and these things last for about 12 hours. I got them on both arms because, both arms kind of get a little stiff and stuff. So Salonpas helps, and then I've got some other cream. It's called Voltaren, and I've got the generic version of that that I picked up at Walmart before I came over here the last time, and I'd left a tube here on the first time. So, it's good for aches and pains. Anyway, so we got there early because we had to pay for the surgery. The surgery, 40,000 pesos. Okay, just to let you know how much it costs to do different things. Now, previously, we had gone to PhilHealth. I am eligible for PhilHealth, but I don't get the same rates as what a Filipino would get. I believe a Philippine citizen, their rate is somewhere around 1,700 pesos. And mine was, I believe, around 40,000. So again, the expense. This is why I caution everyone that retires here to try and keep a balance in their bank at home of at least 6 months of your retirement. 12 months would be better. If anything bad happens, like heart or the big C or whatever, it's going to cost a lot of money. So, you want to make sure you have money. I know a friend of mine has had some medical issues. He did not have the lifeline, and he's been jammed up for several years now with trying to get all of his health issues taken care of. So we go and pay for the surgery, then we wait at 1 o'clock. The nurse comes out and she says, "Okay, sir." She says, "The doctor will be here in about 45 minutes. He's just finishing up another operation." Actually, he was at another hospital, but he had one more operation after mine. So we sat and waited and waited and waited. And finally, they brought me a gown and things. I love those gowns. The hospital gowns. With the breezeway in the back. They come and did that, and then they took me into the pre-op room, and 6 attempts to put an IV in the back of my hand. 6. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of needles, to say the least. I've faced a lot of dangers in my life, and that little bitty tiny needle, it just always seems to be the thing that just makes me squirm. But she couldn't get the needle in. The vein kept rolling and things. Now, I've been fasting for at least 12 hours. I think it was 9 o'clock the night before since I'd had anything to eat or drink. And I woke up on that Thursday morning on the 21st, and I had a couple of sips of water, take my vitamins and my supplements that I take, and that's all I'd had. They want you to fast because under the anesthetic, they don't want you to regurgitate or whatever, and you could choke on that. They don't want that complication. So yeah, I get it. Anyway, another nurse says, "Well, let's try a smaller needle," and you're bruising his hand. Yeah, it was swelling up. She had hit everything but the vein, I think. But this other nurse, she got it in my left hand. Smaller needle, boom, bada bing, bada boom, it was done. So they got me started on the lactose, I think, or whatever it is, the IV, lactate, I think, the Ringer's lactate. And then when the doctor got there, he come in, started getting gowned up and stuff, and they wheeled me into the operating room, and then into the IV. They shot sodium pentothal. I believe that's what it was. But the nurse was talking to me, and all of a sudden I just like, wow. And I says, I think it's time for me to take a nap. Good night. And that's the last thing I remember until I woke up in the recovery room. So I'm making a lot of jump cuts. The workers that are building the house next door, they're leaving for the day, and so they're firing up their scooters and their trikes and things. And yeah, so when it gets really noisy, I just shut it off. And but who would have thought? We're in the Philippines. Laser surgery, great, but I was all sewn up and everything. They put a drain in because I still had infection. I had a week of antibiotics to take with the drain, and yeah, that was unpleasant. Fortunately, my wife, she was changing my bandage, my dressings about every 3-4 times a day, depending on if they get soaked or not. Now, like I said, I had a lot of infection in there, and they cautioned me on that. They told me what to do and things. Now, I had to go get medicines and stuff, and that cost me roughly 1,800 pesos. Yeah, I'm putting the U.S. dollar equivalents to it, just so you know how much it costs for a surgery like this. Anyway, I had to get the antibiotics. I had a pain reliever. It was pretty, a lot more powerful than ibuprofen. I only took one of those, and that was a cautionary thing, but the rest of the pain has been bearable and things since then. Now, it's been a few weeks. Each Thursday I go back to see the doctor. On that first Thursday back, let me look at the date. I don't know why I couldn't do the simple math in my head. 7 days past the 21st, let's see, the 28th. Okay, so on the 28th I went back in, and he said that everything was healing fine, and he removed the drain from the wound and just cautioned me to take it easy, not do any lifting, not do a lot of activities. So for the past 3 weeks, this has pretty much been my perch here on the couch in the living room of the house here. So, except last Sunday, I decided, well, things are healing really well, and I think I could probably drive to Manila. You know, I can sit back now. Before that, I couldn't sit back because the cyst was so infected and so painful to sit back with. I had to sit up on the steering wheel all the time. So I told my wife, I says, why don't you take the P2P, the point-to-point bus, you and my stepdaughter, and go to Manila on Saturday, and then on Sunday I'll come down and go to church, and then after family dinner, then I'll drive back home. And I says, I think I can do that. Well, I got about 3/4 of the way to Manila, and all the bumps and things rubbing against my back. It was irritating. And then I have a men's fellowship that I attend at 9 a.m. until 10:30, so an hour and a half there, and then service goes from 10:30 to 12, so another hour and a half. So that's 3 more hours that I'm sitting, and I can sit forward or whatever while during service. And of course, with our church, we stand, you know, we sing, and you know, we stand different times, we sit, whatever. Anyway, we're not just sitting, and it'll help keep you awake. But my wife decided she was going to come back later, and she'd just take the point to point. So I was irritated, or should say my wound was irritated, and it was hurting. So I says, well, let me just drive home, and you take the bus back later in the evening. And I got home, and yeah, it was quite painful. And then Monday, I had workers here to fix my tile on the walkway. They had to tear out a big leading section of that and rebuild it because they didn't pour the concrete solid enough, and the corners of the tiles were chipping off. They didn't put any edge guard under the tiles. They forgot. What can you say? It's Philippines, right? So they were here on Monday to tear all of that out and replace it. And they asked me, could you move your motorcycle? I thought, well, yeah, you know, I'm feeling a little bit better. So I rolled it out of the carport, garage, whatever. Decided, well, let's go riding around the neighborhood. I haven't really had a chance to ride the motorcycle since I got it. So I rode around the neighborhood for, I don't know, 20 minutes or so, just getting the feel of it. And with the way the handlebars are and stuff, I'm leaning forward. It's more like a sport bike than it is a cruiser. So I'm leaning forward and I'm putting pressure on my stitches. Monday afternoon, my wife comes by and she, actually, it was Tuesday morning, she was going to change my dressing. And she says, you know, your stitches are ripped open. And I said, uh-oh. My dressing was soaked and my shirt was soaked through. And yeah, drainage. And that wasn't good. We called the hospital to ask them if there's anything we should be concerned with. They just said, no, just change the dressings more frequently. Yay. So Thursday, after that, we went back to the doctor. We was able to sit down and talk to him for a while. And I asked him, so why would the cyst grow inside more than outside? And he asked me what I'd done for a living. And I told him the last 6.5 years of working, I drove truck. And so sitting back in the seat and keeping the pressure against that, it probably drove it inside more, because he said that was really deep. He says that was a huge cyst, and he didn't know how I'd lived with it before. And I told him, well, it wasn't too bad until it got infected, and then it was bad. And so he told me that I have another 2 weeks from last Thursday before he's thinking about removing the stitches. Yay. Now, another problem I've had since then is I was told not to get the wound wet. I don't have a bathtub. I have a shower. 2 showers, actually. But so how do I shower? I was basically stretching the hose for my bidet from my toilet into the shower and washing selected areas of my body and my hair. That was interesting. You got to be kind of creative to keep it from getting wet, but I still get the dang bandage wet. You know, if you wash your hair and you stand back up, you're going to have water run down your back, and it goes right in that gauze bandage. And yeah, it was kind of an irritation. Well, when we went back there this past Thursday, the doctor had some waterproof bandages, plasters, 4x4 type. And he says, I brought these from the States. He says, I forgot that I had them. Now, his 2 daughters both live in the U.S. The one daughter, she's a registered nurse. She lives in San Bernardino and works there. And his other daughter is a medical doctor. She lives in Springfield, Springfield, Illinois. Lincolnstown, okay? So, yeah, she, somewhere in there, he got a whole bunch of supplies and things. Now, supplies, okay. I didn't take any antiseptic. I didn't take any bandages. I didn't take any tape. Nothing with me when we went back the week before last on the 28th. The doctor made my wife go down to the pharmacy and buy those things. The doctor doesn't keep those for himself. Now, I gave him 500 pesos this past Thursday for buying these waterproof bandages and stuff, and he told me no. I was offering, but the week before, when my wife had to go down to the pharmacy, that's what she'd had to pay for a couple of gauze 4x4s and some tape and some sterile gloves. Yeah, pharmacy prices at the hospital are about 4 times what they would be at any outside pharmacy. He put me on antibiotics again, and then I needed some ibuprofen, just because occasionally I get headaches and whatever, or maybe too much aches and pains. And ibuprofen seems to help, but I only take maybe 2 or 3 a week at the most. Sometimes I go several weeks without taking any. But we stopped at a drugstore after we left the hospital, and it was 1,500 pesos for the medicine. Antibiotics are not cheap, so we got that done, and I've been taking those. Now I have to eat something before I can take them. I got to take them 3 times a day. You know, it is what it is, but we want to make sure that I don't have any infections set in. I was off the antibiotics for a week from between the 28th and then this past Thursday. This past Thursday was the 6th of March. Most of the time I don't even know what day it is. So I haven't really been in the mood, I guess we'd say, to make videos. So I'm going to apologize for that. But when I'm in pain and I'm in discomfort, whatever, I really don't want everybody to see that. So that's why the past couple of months I've been really slow at getting videos out. Before the surgery, that cyst was bothering me so much I couldn't even sit. It was just, yeah, like I say, it was very uncomfortable, to put it mildly. And then after the surgery, you know, I just had to be careful how I moved, and it was somewhat uncomfortable to do that. This coming Thursday, he'll probably remove the stitches from my chest. That's healing up nicely. It still looks pretty red and angry, but there's no infection, and he's not concerned about it. He says healing great. Of course, it was just a small incision too, you know. The one on my back, it's probably about that big. Like I said, it was a pretty good sized cyst, and it went deep, and so it's going to take longer to heal. But he's confident that the healing process is working good. Fortunately, I did not need more stitches after doing what I did last weekend. Yeah, it was dumb on my part, but I've got nobody to blame but myself. So this weekend I'm staying home. I'll watch services on TV because we have our services are put up on YouTube, and I can watch it live on YouTube. So I will stay home. My wife and my stepdaughter, they're back in Manila this weekend, and they'll attend live. But I'm not taking any drives. I'm not even moving the motorcycle. I talked to the foreman of the house that's being built behind me here, and he and I have become pretty good friends. And I asked him, I says, hey, if I need your help, could you help me? He says, yeah. He says, what? I said, well, if I need to move the motorcycle. He says, sure. He says, just let me know. So, you know, it's nice to have some backup. So after putting the waterproof bandages on, hey, I was able to get a full shower. Oh my goodness. You don't know how much more soothing that is to have a full shower. The construction outside is completed. You know, they're not doing that. They actually got that done in about a day and a half. So, you know, that was all done, but they needed me to move my motorcycle so they could wheelbarrow in and out of there. You know, I only got a 1-car carport here, garage, if you will. So, you know, to get that wheelbarrow through there, they didn't want to hit the bike and knock it over. You know, and they would have had to go around it and things. So that's why I moved it. And, you know, like I said, since I was moving it, take it for a little bit of a spin. Yeah, well, I won't be doing that for a couple more weeks, not until the doctor gives me clearance. So that's what's been happening, folks. you know, the whole operation thing, you know, I've given you the numbers and stuff. I'm pretty satisfied. If this was happening in the States and I was using regular insurance, let's just say Blue Cross, just because everybody knows what that is, even though I didn't have Blue Cross when I was working, that would have been, I don't know, 2,500 deductible, and they would have charged the heck out of the insurance too. It's a big scam. They really raise the prices. Why do you think all the doctors and stuff run around in Mercedes and Jaguars and whatever? You know, they're driving fine luxury cars. You know, I don't think I've seen one anything less than a BMW. So that's because they get plenty of money, kickbacks, whatever. Anyway, from the hospital, from the insurance, from drug companies. You know, and they just prescribe the heck out of you for drugs. And you know, I'm taking the antibiotics. That's the only drugs I'm taking right now. I'll take it. And that's only for another week. He feels pretty confident that I don't have any infection. I won't have any, but he's being precautionary. I really appreciate that. You know, and this doctor, he's we just call him Dr. B. He's a great guy. He's close to my age. He's not a young man, but he's one of the top surgeons in Pampanga. And he's well revered. You can mention his name to almost any doctor. Oh yeah, I know him. So, you know, he's very popular. He's a great surgeon. He did a good job on me. He got the thing out, you know. Yeah, it's uncomfortable still, but it's getting better. And now that I can take showers, I'm feeling a lot better with life. So there it is, guys. Medical care in the Philippines is a doable thing, but just make sure that you have money. Oh, I mentioned that I had signed up for PhilHealth 3 months before PhilHealth kicks in for me. So it didn't do any good to get it just before the surgery. I procrastinated. I meant to get PhilHealth last year just for precautionary, and yeah, I did. Like I said, it's around 4,000 or 40,000. I'll get the exact number here later, but anyway, I'll give you an update on that at a later date when I sit and talk to my wife and ask her, how much was that? She did most of the legwork while I sat in a chair at the PhilHealth office, and geez, paperwork. Oh my goodness. You have no idea how much paperwork you have to do. Photocopies of this, and you know, marriage license and stuff. You know, I mean, they want to make sure my passport, my ACRI card, my visa, my latest visa update. You know, they want to make sure who I am, I guess. I don't know. They're charging me out the wazoo for foreigner PhilHealth, and it doesn't cover everything. It'll cover getting you into the hospital, and it'll cover your hospital stay in most cases. Sorry, one of the late departees of the work crew just left, and you know, he's got kind of a little bit loud scooter. But yeah, PhilHealth doesn't cover everything, but it does cover some, and it'll help. So I thought that in the end it was worth it. Now, if I was still in the States and I was on Medicare, it would take probably 3 months, almost 4 months of premiums to cover what just got covered. And how often are you going to have things like this, or how often am I? You know, I'm not having a lot of medical issues, so I didn't see any sense in staying in the States and having Medicare, sorry, Medicare. They've got all these names for things, but anyway, so I never signed up for it when I retired. I didn't plan on staying in the States, and I can't use it here. You can if you're here for less than 30 days. I think you can get, you can file, you have to pay for it, and then you have to file through the Medicare office, and then it eventually gets reimbursed back to you. I don't know. That's what I've been told. I don't know. I'm a cash-only customer for healthcare here. Let's pray that my health stays good and that I don't have to have any more expenditures. Now I build up my savings again. And get back to that safety net level that I talk about. Like I said, you should have a minimum of 6 months of retirement set aside just for medical. 1 year would be even better. So, if you can do it and save everything you can, save every peso, then you'll be okay. Or if you're coming over here, try to have that nest egg set aside. I don't know what your retirement is. Everyone's is different. Your mileage may vary. So, mine is, a certain amount. So I try and have minimum 6 months up to close to a year. I think I was sitting right around 8 months because I bought that motorcycle and I was going to start saving up money to replenish that. I haven't sold my Harley yet. When that gets sold back in the States, all of that money goes into savings, and that will cover anything that comes up. I've talked to other people that have had medical procedures here, and I've gotten estimates on what kind of prices they've had. It's not free, but anything you have done here, you have confidence that if you have a good doctor, things will turn out pretty good. All right, I had one more thing I wanted to talk to you about. So Thursday, after we left the doctor's office, now those are morning appointments. He's supposed to start at 8:30, and I haven't seen him start before 9:30 yet. It's Philippine time, whatever. We went to the drugstore. We've spent 1,500 pesos for the meds, and it would have been less than that if I hadn't gotten the ibuprofen. It probably would have been close to 1,000. So it is what it is. Anyway, I got I don't remember 20 pieces of ibuprofen. It's kind of expensive, but they're 400 milligrams, so they're worth it when the few times that I take them. But then we went to the bank. Jerry has a bank account now. As a foreigner on a tourist visa, I'm still on that. I haven't gotten 13A going, or I don't know. I may go to the enhanced SRRB because of my military service. I haven't decided yet. I'm still trying to figure out the costs. The SRRB, I think it's around 1,500. I don't know. But Heidi from C&G Consulting, she talks about it, and my friend Steve Johnson from Philippine Info Channel, he talks about it too, and I've met both of them. Anyway, she was on Mike's channel, Mike's Philippine Retirement Channel recently, and she mentioned 3 banks that foreigners can get bank accounts through. Now, we primarily bank through BPI, Bank of the Philippine Islands. BPI has been a really good bank. They're very modern. They're very efficient. My wife also has an account with Security Bank. Now, I could continue using her accounts and things, but for security reasons, I wanted to have my own. So we went to Security Bank because that's one of the banks that my wife and I deal with. There's Security Bank, BDO, and actually 4 banks. There's PNB, and then there's China Bank. Now, China, yeah, okay, whatever. Just stick with Security Bank. But we went in there. Now, you want to talk about a hassle. It was about 3 hours to get this done. All the papers in quadruplicate. They want photocopies of everything. They want to know how much money you make. So fortunately, I just gotten, with the raise we got with Social Security, I just gotten a letter telling me how much I was going to be making now. Oh boy, it was like $40 more. I don't spend it all in one place, Jerry. But I had a copy of that, so I was able to present that and say, this is my monthly income, which on pension is probably as good as a lot of Filipinos. Now, of course, there's others that make a lot more. I know many. But anyway, so I was able to get that. Fortunately, I was prepared, and then they wanted to know exactly what my permanent address was. On the absolute deed of sale for the house here, my name is on there, and you know, it's got the address and stuff. But I also have my U.S. Address through iPostal 1, and that's like a real physical address. So that's what's on record right now, because if I leave the Philippines and go back home, then they think that's where I'm going. Well, I'm not going to live in a postage box, although that's probably all I could afford if I went back to the States, right? But anyway, so I have the bank account now. It's debit card, and it's everyday card is what they call it. But Security Bank is not as efficient as BPI, and from what I understand, BDO is pretty efficient. But they've been hacked a couple of times, so my wife says, stay away from BDO. And we have pretty good luck with Security Bank, although remittances to Security Bank, when I've remitted to my wife's account, has sometimes taken 3 days. But to remit to BPI, by the time I close out World Remit and go into my email, the money's already in the bank. I've had my wife check it too. I says, okay, I'm going to remit X amount of pesos, and I'll hit send, and I said, okay, open your email and you know, check your bank account. She says, wow, it's already here. I mean, it's like instantaneous. But Security Bank is a little slower, and so we're trying to work on that to see what I can do to speed up the process, because I would rather remit to my account here from my account in the States. So if that's not going to work, then I'll just keep going, remitting to BPI, and then my wife can transfer the money into my account, because I'm basically paying all the bills right now by myself. The light bill, the water bill, you know, $10 a month or less. You know, I think I had a 397 peso water bill last month. You know, less than $8, something like that. So you know, light bill, now that was a little bit more. The last light bill we had, we'd still had construction going on, so a lot of power was getting used. Actually, we had a couple of months of that, a lot of power being used. Now I've got these lights on just for this video, but normally I keep most of the lights off. I just open the blinds and let the natural light filter in. This house is bright enough. I know I'm not going to trip unless I got to do something, you know, like wash dishes, mop the floor, whatever. I'm not allowed to mop the floor. They told me that too. So yeah, whatever. But if I have anything I need to do in here, then yeah, I turn the lights on. Anyway, I've drug this on long enough. I rambled, but I'll try and pick up the pace here a little bit with the videos, but until I'm completely able to get around again, yeah, they'd probably still be a little slow. I'm going to apologize in advance if they are, and I hope you all are doing well. Just got the healing process to go, but I'll tell you what, it feels a lot better with that cyst removed than what it did before. Now we just get the healing process done and get this incision all healed up and get the green light from the doctor, and hey, I'm back to doing all kinds of stuff. So we'll catch you all later. God bless. Be safe.